the wilderness of Pakistan, the mountains of Pakistan. All our summer holidays were spent in the Himalayas. And so from that time onwards, what I loved about Pakistan was its wilderness, its mountains. With age, I saw these mountains, this wilderness disappearing. And especially the way we destroyed our forest cover. I always resolved the second thing, that if I ever got the opportunity, I would make sure that we preserve this God-given beauty of our country. And we start a reforestation campaign. So in 2013, my party won an election in one of the provinces, which was the former northwestern western province called Pakhtunkhwa. And that's when we started one of the most ambitious campaigns to plant 1 billion trees in 4 years. And against all odds, we did it. No one expected it to happen, but we involved the local communities. We first made them understand how important trees were for the future. We made the people understand that Pakistan was very vulnerable to climate change. And we appealed to the people. We involved women in the mountainous areas to grow nurseries. And it became one of the most successful campaigns in our country's history of forestation. So we planted 1 billion trees. So when I became the Prime Minister, I resolved that we would plant 10 billion trees in Pakistan in the next 4 years. And this is now our objective. The experience we learned from the KP province, we are now using that experience to grow these nurseries, involve local communities, especially involve women, because they were very good in planting, developing and planting nurseries. So, why is it important for us to grow trees? For 2 reasons. One, as I mentioned, that Pakistan is vulnerable to global warming. Secondly, in our cities, pollution has become a silent killer. So unfortunately, there was no plan before, and our cities got very polluted, specifically Lahore, which had the pollution levels like Delhi in India, rose high because for some reason our planners removed 70% of the tree cover of Lahore in the last 10 years. Apart from the environmental aspect now, the third thing I realized, that you cannot make your economy grow unless and until there is peace and stability. Pakistan in the 80s became part of what was the Afghan Jihad. Pakistan became allied with the US to fight for the freedom in Afghanistan from the Soviets. We had militant groups in Pakistan trained to do guerrilla activities in Afghanistan. Once that ended, once the Soviets left, we were left with the militant groups, and Pakistan suffered the consequences. First time ever we had militant groups in Pakistan. We had sectarian groups. We had this called the Kalashnikov culture. We had drugs coming into the country. And that was a watershed in Pakistan. Things started going wrong and as I repeat, for economy, you need stability. You need peace and order. So if you have armed militias in your country, that became one of the impediments on economic growth. Come 9/11, we again joined the US in its war on terror. This time, the same militant groups that were created, Pakistan was required to disarm them. So again, we went through this process. 70,000 Pakistanis died in it. And of course, what was hit was economic growth. And then the image of Pakistan, a dangerous place in the world. So when I assumed power, my government decided that from now onwards, Pakistan will only partner another country in peace. We would not become part of any other conflict. We would not join any country in its conflict. And since then, we have played our part. We have tried to ease tensions between Saudi Arabia and Iran. I also tried to, between the United States and Iran, we tried to do our part, play our part in easing tensions. In Afghanistan, in the peace process now, Pakistan is partnering with the United States to get the Taliban to talk to the Afghanistan government. It is the nearest we are to some sort of a peaceful solution in Afghanistan. The third issue, economics. When my government came into power, as you mentioned, we inherited the worst economic crisis in our history. The biggest current account deficit, the biggest fiscal deficit, where almost reserves which would have lasted a month. Since then, I must pay tribute to my economic team. And of course, we took very tough decisions. I have been in public eye for 40 years, but the sort of public attitude I have to face in the last 1 year, I've never faced in my life because of all these tough economic decisions we've taken. People are hurting. Naturally, when you do stabilization, you squeeze the economy, people hurt. But we have gone through this very tough period. And mercifully, our economy stabilized. The rupee that was falling, it's now, in fact, in the last few months, it's gained a bit. Our stock market has gone up. Investment in Pakistan year to year has gone up by 200%. So things are we are in the right direction, although I have to say we still have a lot of hard work to do. This year now, we are looking towards economic growth. The idea is now so that we provide employment, bring in investment in Pakistan, create the conditions. And I'm happy to say that in 1 year, according to the World Bank, that index of ease of doing business, Pakistan went up 28 points in the ease of doing business. We were in the top 10 countries which made the biggest improvement. What are the advantages of Pakistan? Number one is our population. We are 210 million people. 60% of Pakistanis are below the age of 30. This is the real strength of Pakistan. Unfortunately, we have neglected this young population because we did not concentrate on skill development, equipping them to employ themselves, become entrepreneurs, provide young people to the industry. But now we have started a program of skill development. We have partnered World Economic Forum in this program of Skill Gap, and we have laid a huge amount of money for startups, young people, encouraging them to start their own businesses. This is the first time we've done apprenticeship. We are encouraging industries now to employ young people. So this is really a big source. This is a big resource which will, we hope, one day lift Pakistan. The other advantages Pakistan have, number one, is our mineral wealth. Sadly, untapped. Pakistan is sitting on one of the most precious gold and copper reserves. Unfortunately, we've had a few issues, so these reserves have remained untapped, but we have enough reserves that we can pay off all our foreign debt. We also have one of the largest gold reserves. We have rare earth minerals. We have unexplored gas reserves. So the whole government attention now is to develop these resources. We also have very fertile agricultural land. Unfortunately, the practices which we have done, we have not really explored this potential. Our productivity is one of the lowest. So for that, we have got help from China. China has been in the CPEC, what is this, the Pakistan-China economic corridor. We have in that got China to help us in developing the productivity of agriculture sector. And this is, I think, one area where Pakistan can make strides very quickly, because we do have fertile land. Unfortunately, as I said, our productivity is very low. And finally, my vision of Pakistan stems from its strategic location. Pakistan is strategically placed, probably one of the most fortunate positions in the world. On the one side is China, one of the fastest growing markets, and of course closely allied to Pakistan. Then we have energy reserves in Central Asia, and the moment there's peace in Afghanistan, we then have access to all the markets in Central Asia. Then we have Iran, and hopefully, if things settle down, Iran also, the more we trade with Iran, both countries will benefit. The biggest neighbor, second biggest neighbor is India. Unfortunately and sadly, the situation between India and Pakistan is not what it should have been. There are various reasons, and I won't go into it right now. This is not the right forum. But the moment Pakistan and Indian relationship becomes normal, trade starts between the two countries, then one can imagine the location, the strategic location of Pakistan with China on one side, India on one side, and then countries with excess energy on the western side. I am someone who believes that in Pakistan, the moment we get our governance right, that is the real issue. Sadly, our governance, in the past 30 years, the way our governance deteriorated, that was one of the biggest reasons that we have not been able to fulfill our potential as a country. The country has tremendous resources, young population, strategic located. From now on, my government's biggest challenge now is how we can improve our state institutions, so we can improve our governance, so we can tap our potential. Thank you.
Wazir-e-Azam Imran Khan